Hey, how's it going there? Troy with Big BB LLC. I'm coming back to do another video on basically your first time owning a handgun or going to conceal carry. I did a video about this before where I talked about gun fit, calibers, stuff like that, and it was a pretty long video. If you didn't catch that, I'll go ahead and link it down into the description so you could catch that one. This will be part 2 to this, alright? So another consideration that you may want to make when deciding on what concealed carry gun that you're going to have is the safety. Now, I hear a lot of people come through my classes or even through my gun store that prefer a manual safety instead of a no safety. I'm going to quote that because most of the no safeties do have a safety on them. But the thing that they tell me the most is, well, I got kids at home, so I feel more comfortable with the manual safety, something that I can manually lock and help prevent accidents from happening. And I can see that point. But when you're trying to choose a concealed carry gun, remember what you're choosing it for, all right? You're choosing it for a situation that unfolded in a very, very short timeline. You're talking a couple of seconds. And so the act of disarming the safety needs to be part of your practice regimen if you're going to have that kind of weapon. Alright? And I got 2 with me right now. One with the safety and one without. And I didn't feel the need to bring out the whole arsenal for these. I can pretty much show you just with these 2, right? So here's a 1911. It has a manual safety on it, right? As you can see, it's clear. Everything was clear before I even started this video. And the safety is in the up position. Now, what would really suck is if you actually needed to employ your weapon and you didn't practice taking the safety off as you drew, and next thing you know, you're trying to, and nothing happens. That would really suck. That may or may not cost you your life. And I'm going to lean more towards the may. Because if you pull that trigger and gun does not go bang, you think that whoever's causing you this fear of your life, or who is threatening you, is going to give you a second attempt to try to pull that trigger or to disarm your safety. Ain't gonna happen. All right, you're going to get beaten, or at the very worst case scenario, dead, with a full magazine and an unfired weapon. All right, so part of your practice should be, as you're pulling it out, you're taking the safety off so you can just employ it. All right, and I'll show that again. So as you're pulling out, you hear that click, right? So if you're going to have a manual safety, you're going to have to implement that motion into your training. Kind of makes sense, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? But like I said, there's a lot of stuff that happens, and there's a lot of stuff that's going to be going through your mind when or if that situation ever presents itself. And even with all the best training in the world, you may still forget to put your safety on. That's why I go with a no safety. This is a Smith & Wesson 40. There's no safety. The actual safety is actually here on the trigger. If I hold this close enough, you'll see there's a joint on the trigger. And you see that slight movement? On safe, off safe. On safe, off safe. So that is your safety. But when I pull this out, I'm just ready to go. There's nothing else I have to do. There's nothing else I have to remember. I just pull the trigger, and it's done. All right. So that will be a consideration for you to ponder over when you're contemplating on what your next gun is going to be for concealed carry. As far as like range guns and stuff like that, either or, it really doesn't matter. You've got time. Paper targets aren't shooting back at you. But remember what you're going to conceal carry for. Most people are conceal carrying or carrying at all because they want to protect themselves. Many of these people have never actually been in a situation where the adrenaline starts pumping, things start happening, your dexterity is messed up. I try to explain this to people all the time, but there's no way I can actually make people understand without them actually having been through it. So if you've been through it, you know what I'm talking about. But let's just say that the brain shuts off. You're only worried about survival at this time. And just taking that off may be a little too much to think about in one of those scenarios, all right? So that is something to consider. That is something to think about. One of the other things that I would say is look at your trigger pull and your trigger travel and your reset point and your break point. I did a video on that as well, so I won't reiterate those. I will actually just go ahead and tag that in the description as well. All right? Stay safe, shoot straight, and I'll see you again.